Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is September the 30th, 2024. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Sorry for the wait. I know I missed an episode. I missed a day. I feel bad, things happened. I'll get into it. But, yeah, I mean, overall though, I'm good. We're here. We're whole. I will say, man, interesting. I want to say 48 hours for your boy, but, definitely a wintry mix of good and bad. But yeah, let's see here. Where do I want to start? I guess we can start Saturday night, where I left you off last, I think, right? I essentially didn't do much. It was raining all day. I mean, it was raining throughout the whole weekend. So, I was just big chilling. I decided to make some ramen that day. And I made this like loaded ramen bowl with, I had some bacon in there. I had some chicken in there. I cut up like this fish cutlet and I put that in there. So yeah, that was yummy. That was a good one. Oh, I had some lettuce in there too. And then I just had a little bit of bread to kind of like close out the rest of the bread I had. Then the next day, Sunday, I guess I'll explain why I missed an episode. I got up, I was going through my day. Everything was pretty normal, hunky-dory. We got back from the gym. And actually, I guess I should add a little bit of gym talk here. I was so humbled Sunday morning when I woke up and like I was telling y'all like, oh yeah, I went hard even though I said I know I should like find some time to rest, but I said fuck it. And I went in and I went hard. I woke up the next day on Sunday morning and like I could barely walk for like about 30 minutes until I like crawled over to the Advil and like popped some. And I was like, okay, then today has to be a rest day at the gym. We just have to. I'm going to go because I'm officially a gym freak. I cannot be separated from the gym at least once a day. I want to be in there now. But I said, okay, I'll take it slower. So I did a bit of a like different thing. I did more time on the bike. I did a little bit of walking on the treadmill and I did a little bit of on the elliptical. Definitely didn't enjoy the workout as much, but, just felt good to still be at it and know that I'm being careful. Also, I did a bunch of like kind of lifting and stuff like that. So that kind of made me feel a little better, a little bit more balanced. So yeah, like I said, I get back from the gym, ready to do my news thing. I even had some coffee and I was like, I know I shouldn't eat these bagels because I'm about to have like this big like birthday dinner. It was, I'll get into that. But I was like, yeah, no, I should eat something. It'll perk me up. I'll do my research. I'll find some news. I couldn't find shit, y'all. And like, look, I'll be the first to say it. There is no such thing as a slow news day in this era. I've been saying that. I still say that shit. But I've also talked about this before too, where you can have an issue if you're, a guy like me, or, maybe this is me making excuses or whatever. But like, you have an issue where like a couple of stories wind up taking up all the oxygen, right? And it makes sense because they're big pressing stories, but it just makes it harder to find other things, especially other things that I'd like to talk about on this pod. So, there was just a lot about, Israel and Lebanon, which, sadly we got more Israel news to talk about today. So there was that, and then there was Hurricane Helene, which also very unfortunate, very sad, a lot to get into, a little bit to talk about there too today. But I was just like, I'm not finding shit. I'm like drawing dead. And like, I'm sitting here sipping this coffee, eating these bagels, which I gotta say, it's cinnamon raisin bagels. What did I put in there? Plain cream cheese. And I put some cinnamon butter on top. And then I put the everything seasoning on them because I'm crazy and I love flavors. But yeah, that was good. But I just couldn't find Bo Diddley. So I said, you know what? Despite this coffee, despite this food I'm eating, I'm going to take a nap. And I took a nap. And then I woke up and I noticed that there were some stories forming. But then I realized, oh, I have this dinner, this birthday dinner that I'm supposed to go to. I got to go to that. I don't have any time. So I just said, whatever. It's fine, so mea culpa. I'm sorry. I'm going to try my best to make up for it today with like a lot of news. So stay strapped, or maybe you want to like cut this episode in half, maybe if we go long. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the spirit takes us, the spirit of news. But let's get down to the last food corner I want to talk about, before we get into it. My birthday dinner, which was so cute. I got to hang out with some family friends. And I know what you're thinking. Like I said, your birthday was on the 13th, and it's like, yeah, I know, but you know how it is when you're an adult and you're making plans with other adults. It's hard. It's hard to like get it all in there at the right time. So luckily, we were able to have it before the end of the month. But really, I'm just happy to see people that I care about, who care about me, and want to spend time. I think that's like the best thing. As I get older, like I really, really appreciate it. And like, I don't know, especially with like this group of people, because like this is like when I say family friends, I really do mean it. Like this group of people I talk about when I reference them, these people I grew up with since I was like 6 or 7 years old. Like these people were like people who damn near were a part of raising me, for sure. And they were close to my parents, and that, it's a strong sentimental bond that I have with these people. So, I really do treat them like almost like they're my parents, and like that's my brother and stuff. So, it's just good to be around them. And let's see, they let me pick the food, which was great. I got to pick my birthday meal. I had pulled barbecue pork sandwiches. They were amazing. And we had like several different barbecue like sauces. And then we had like 3 different kinds of chips. I just asked for chips. They got me 3 different kinds of kettle chips. It was cool. They were going crazy. They had like a honey barbecue. They had a honey mustard, or it might have been a smoky barbecue. I'm sorry, honey mustard. And the honey mustard was crazy good. It was like, oh my gosh, like, And then they had like just the original. There were some pickles, some fresh cut pickles. Let's see here. I mean, there was a whole spread. There was like chocolate cake, or there was yellow cake, because I like it. I don't know why I like it so much. It's just, once again, it kind of goes back to kid me, but I love a chocolate yellow cake. That's like one of my favorite little cakes. If someone can just make that for me, I love it. Even though cheesecake's my favorite, like that's like a little heartfelt thing for me. So, that got made for me. Jeez, oh Pete, I'm sure I'm missing some stuff here on the spread, even though I literally was like part of like planning it. But it was really good. It was really a fun time. I really enjoyed myself. And I even got a couple of gifts, which was really nice. And I'll talk about the one that was like the crown jewel. We were talking previously just about like cooking and stuff. And I said like, yeah, one thing I don't have is an Instant Pot. Like all my friends talk about it. They're like, it's really cool. You can do so much stuff with it. But I think they're really dope. And they're like, hey, well, we'll note it. And they actually got me an Instant Pot. And I'm like, I was just overwhelmed. I don't know what to do with the thing, but I'm stoked to have it, So if you know any Instant Pot recipes, feel free to hit my DMs. Send me some links, because I would love to come up with some like just some new to me shit, and then I can like regale everyone on the podcast. So there we go. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we're all caught up. Oh, we're almost caught up on my Joneses. I know I said today was a mixed bag, right? So I'm sure you're hearing all this. You're like, Isaiah, it sounds like you're in a good spot, right? Like, what's the problem? What's the static? I don't know. Like, I woke up today, and I think it's because I don't know. It was just, it's Monday. It's just Monday, dude. And I got the lasagna, but it's one of those times where I got the lasagna and I have to ask at what cost. Like, I don't know. I just wasn't in a good mood, one of those days where like I kept stacking a bunch of bad things in my head, and like by the time I got through halfway through the day, I was like, I'm just not in a good spot. I'm just not in a good mood. So I really felt like I was just piling on myself. I was just kind of being depressed. But getting back into the gym, doing a workout was really nice. And when I really count the day, how do you say, count your blessings, if you will, smell the roses. I do know that this was a good day. You know what I mean? And I know that the feeling I have is just, it's just a feeling. It's just something that's in my head. Sometimes you just get depressed. Sometimes it just, the day hits you wrong, you know? Sometimes you're just, you know, not too with it. But overall, I know today was a good day, and I'm really happy to be back. Yeah, I missed y'all. I missed my newsies. I missed my newsettes. Yes. So, you know, we're back at it. Like I said, I got a big episode for you. I hopefully I can get through it. It's probably gonna be my sloppiest work yet. I'm just gonna be real with you. But, you know, you got to do this long blog with me. You're all caught up on my shit, you know, you're all caught up on the Joneses. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a startup. Let's get right. Let's get tight. And then we'll go ahead and get into this news. You know, we'll try to zip through as much as we can. We're going to just, it's essentially just going to be like a hack and slash situation. We're just going to say what we can, all right? So bear with me. All right. The first story comes from Reuters. Israel strikes Yemen port, keeps up Lebanon assault. Israel said it bombed Houthi targets in Yemen on Sunday and mounted further airstrikes in Lebanon, expanding its confrontation with Iran's allies in the region 2 days after killing the Hezbollah leader Syed Hassan Nasrallah. So they hit, I believe, the port town of Hodeida. I believe it's a port town. I know it's a place where they like believe that there's like a bunch of munitions stored there. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna hit you guys because days back, a week two, whatever, the Houthis shot a missile that hit into Tel Aviv. It was deflected. It was stopped. There wasn't like any kind of deaths or anything like that. But the Houthis had said, we shot a hypersonic missile at y'all, and we're going to do that shit again, type B. That's what's kind of the inference, right? The implication. And, I mean, essentially, everyone else is saying, no, that wasn't a hypersonic missile. It was just a missile, but, you know, who knows? Needless to say, Israel was like, oh, we're going to hit y'all up for that shit, so they did. And then I would say some extra talk is that they, in terms of the invasion into Lebanon, it more or less seems all but certain. I've heard that tanks are mounted, like, kind of at the border right now, in, like, the South Lebanon or whatever. So that's obviously very unfortunate because it's going to open up a new grim chapter in this where they're going to try to more or less now occupy Lebanon, and do that for how long? I don't fucking know. But I don't think that bodes well for the people there. And, I think that it's going to be very fucked up and very upsetting what they're about to be doing. Not that these airstrikes are any fucking good. They haven't relented or stopped on that. Let's see here. Houthi-run ministry said at least 4 people were killed and 29 were wounded. I wanted to mention that part. But yeah, let's actually go ahead and hit the next beat. Like I said, we're kind of just sticking and moving as best we can here. From NPR, at least 148 are dead in floods and landslides in Nepal. Rescuers in Nepal recovered dozens of bodies from buses and other vehicles that were buried in landslides near the capital, Kathmandu, as the death toll from flooding rose to at least 148, with dozens missing. It does say here, just a little bit add-on, the weather improved on Sunday following 3 days of monsoon rains, and rescue and cleanup efforts were underway. Kathmandu remained cut off Sunday as 3 highways out of the city were blocked by landslides. Just wanted to add that natural disaster to the list. I know that it's kind of in the scrum that is like Hurricane Helene. I think especially from like a Western American lens, like you're not really hearing much about Nepal. But, obviously it's very sad and tragic what's going on there. So I wanted to talk about that as well. Moving along, though, to more unfortunate news, but on the political scene. From the Associated Press, Austria's Freedom Party, I love that, Freedom Party, I'm going to put that in quotations, secures first far-right national election win since World War II. You smell that? You smell what the rock is cooking here? Does this sound good to you? It sounds terrible to me. It feels bad. It feels like big bad, man. Like, Because I'm sorry, man. Like when you were talking Austria and you're saying, yeah, we're dusting off the fucking far right vibes, dude. You know, did you miss fascism? Because we did, and like now we're here, and that feels very upsetting, very scary. But am I surprised? No, because once again, we talk about like once again where I see the bird's eye from my view, how I look at it. The social conservatism is so rampant, you know, and a lot of these countries, especially on the concept of immigration, once again, it's not just an American issue. Like everyone wants to freak out and point at someone else and say, you're the reason I'm not doing well. You're the reason things are bad. And because of this, parties can come up and exploit that shit. And they can just say, you know what? You're right. That feeling you have in your gut, you're right. That's real. You know, these people should go. It should just be about us. And that's the narrative that this Freedom Party is fucking pushing. So, I mean, it wound up working for them, and it looks like they're pulling off a victory here in Austria. Let's read a little bit. The Freedom Party secured the first far-right national parliamentary election victory in post-World War II Austria on Sunday, finishing ahead of the governing conservatives after tapping into anxieties about immigration, inflation, Ukraine, and other issues. You know, the fucking classics. But its chances of governing were unclear. So, I mean, they're still going to have to reach back and then work with their conservative counterparts. Love that. Love that. These are the two big dogs in Austria that are on top. I don't know how that's going to really go or work out for them. But, I mean, we'll see. I believe, what is it, Herbert Kickl? What a funny name. Herbert Kickl, a former interior minister and longtime campaign strategist who has led the Freedom Party since 2021, wants to be chancellor. But to become Austria's new leader, he would need a coalition partner to command a parliamentary majority. Rivals have said they won't work with Kickl in the government. Now, that's something they can say right now, but the whole idea of getting along to get along can definitely kick in, especially when you have your constituents yelling at you to do something, anything. And like, they're like, no, we want you to work with these fucking far right freaks. And so you go, okay, fine. And then they just fucking capitulate. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I don't fucking know, but I really hope it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to see these guys get more juice, more power, more influence, more control anywhere, period. I don't want to see fascism win on any fucking front, right? And I would hope that my average audience and listeners don't want to see that or hear that shit either. But yeah, I mean, I have no doubt about it. Like, this isn't a fucking zebra of different stripes. Like, this is a far right fascist fucking group, and essentially they just made it to the top. They got there because people are like, oh, you're talking that populist shit that I love so much, bro. Like, and once again, that's why like someone like Trump always works. Like, people believe in the strong man bullshit. Like, yeah, this person's gonna do the things that we need done. And it's like, no, they aren't, dude. They're just giving you fucking fan service. They're giving you window dressing. They're not giving you anything real of any material. They are talking shit up your ass and you like how it vibrates. Just be real. Just say you want to be a fucking monster. Like, whatever. I'm getting upset. I'm getting mad. Boo this party. I don't see any freedom here, bro. You can eat some fucking tomatoes. So yeah, fuck them. Kick rocks, bro. Anyway, moving on, a little bit of an update out of Japan from Al Jazeera. Japan's incoming PM Ishiba calls snap vote. Let's see here. Japan's incoming prime minister has said he will call snap elections for October 27th after winning his governing party's leadership. It is important for the new administration to be judged by the people as soon as possible, Shigeru Ishiba said on Monday at a news conference at the Liberal Democratic Party, LDP's, headquarters in Tokyo. So yeah, to make a long story short, we're gearing up for an earlier snap vote than I expected. I kind of expected more of a, I don't know, like a UK vibe, like a Rishi Sunak kind of situation where they were going to like let a little bit marinate here and then call it, you know what I mean? But it makes sense. Essentially, they have the juice. Like, the LDP is pretty strong. Even, I feel like I'm saying this even though, you know, I know we talked a little bit about it. Like, they are facing some adversity in terms of like oh, there's skin scandals, people are upset about the economy or whatever. But it seems like time and time again, people pick these conservative motherfuckers. So I'm kind of not surprised if this guy wins again. Also, I will add, I was scrolling around and I saw Shigeru Ishiba in a Majin Buu outfit, and I'm like, fuck, he got me. That's my favorite, bro. That's me, bro. That's my dude, bro. And I'm like, bro, it's just like fucking Javier Milei when he came out with the fucking Wolverine thing at fucking like Comic-Con or whatever the fuck. Dude, he was at some kind of convention or whatever being a fucking nerd. Which is like, hey, hell yeah, that's fun. I just wish you weren't a fucking asshole politician like you are, but whatever. You know, kind of same vibes with the Shiba, you know? I mean, I fuck with Majin Buu, but like, I don't fuck with your politics, brother. So, you know, boo this man. I hate to say it. Actually, no, I don't hate to say that, dude. You know what I mean? You know, shit. If it can happen to Shinzo Abe, it can happen to anybody. You feel me? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyway, anywho, let's move on. Let's take it to the States. This is another story that I definitely like missed and has been developing from CNN. Thousands told to stay home a day after chemical plant fire sent a plume containing chlorine high into the air. So, definitely been a lot of, and I love this too. Obviously I don't love this story. The situation is very sad, but I do like seeing people like take time on social media to talk about these things. Because I've actually seen a lot of coverage on this via the Facebook and all that, and like that makes me happy to see my peers that like they give a shit about what's going on in the world around them, and you know, like that's important, you know, and I see that every day, of course, but it's always nice to see more of it, especially at like more state, local type levels and shit like that. So, but that being said, obviously let's get into the story. It's very sad and very scary. Well, I mean, I say scary, more scary than sad. I don't think any like casualties or anything of that sort or injuries have popped off, but sorry. Thousands of people were told to stay home with their windows shut Monday after a fire at a Georgia industrial plant caused a chemical reaction that prompted around 17,000 people to evacuate Sunday and left potentially harmful chlorine lingering in the air. Now, I heard right before I kind of got into recording that the chlorine haze is kind of lifted a bit, but excuse me, I'm sure there's still like caution in the area, so things are still very high alert. Residents and businesses were told to evacuate the area around the biolab plant in Conyers after the blaze broke out early Sunday morning. A shelter-in-place advisory is ongoing for around 90,000 people in surrounding Rockdale County. The plume from the chemical reaction that followed the outbreak of the fire could be seen for miles, and officials on Monday were cautioning those still in the area to stay indoors with their windows closed and air conditioners off. Biolab manufactures pool and spa treatment products. See, I'm not exactly sure what happened, if like some kind of fire or something like caused the chlorine to ignite in this kind of way, but like once it went off, it just went off in this big plume. And you know, chlorine can cause coughing, choking, nausea, vomiting, headache, and dizziness. So I mean, I haven't heard of anyone like I said, dying or anything like that, but naturally if you're having to endure any of that, that's no good, you know what I mean? And who knows what kind of potential lasting effects that could have. I mean, I don't know, I'm not a fucking scientist. So needless to say, this is a very concerning situation that popped off. So, you know, obviously my heart, you know, condolences are going out to anybody there going through that shit. Definitely fucking crazy shit going on. Like I said, we got a whole fucking hurricane going on. We got fucking plumes of fire and chlorine haze. It's like, bro, shit feels like a goddamn Fallout episode or some shit, man. Fucking God. Anyway, but speaking of hurricanes, I want to talk about a little bit of an update on, I mean, this is an update in terms of Helene, but this is more just about Verizon. Once again, kind of cycled this story from Facebook and kind of had me looking. So I was like, all right, you know, let me go ahead and talk about it a little bit. From CBS News, Verizon customers report widespread outages with mobile phones limited to SOS mode. Verizon customers across the U.S. reported problems accessing the company's wireless network with some reporting Monday morning that their phone service was down and limited to SOS mode. As of 10:11 a.m. Eastern Time, more than 100,000 reports of Verizon outages have been logged with Down Detector, a site that tracks service outages for telecommunication providers, websites, and other businesses. So yeah, I mean, I had a friend even like a couple hours ago telling me like, hey, my internet, like I'm stuck on Wi-Fi only. Like that's the only way I can contact people right now. So, bear with me. Which I'm like, hey man, I get it. A lot of shit's going on. And to be honest, I mean, obviously this is a fucked up, frustrating situation. It's a bummer. But I know that like shit in North Carolina, people have been comparing the conditions right now, the aftermath to like Hurricane Katrina. So I know that shit is really rough all over. Appalachias, I've seen a lot of fucked up, sad pictures of just the devastation and people being trapped, and it's people. You think about your pets, just your home, like all that shit can just be erased like that. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where no one saw this shit coming. And it's like, well, you can say, well, there were people reporting about this. It was a big storm. But like, naturally, that talk was like for the southern inland states. You know what I mean? Like, you weren't thinking this shit was going to spread all the way up. You know what I mean? So it's very sad. It's very unfortunate. I know a lot of people are going through it right now. I know there's a lot of people, fuck cell phone service. They don't even have power. They're just getting power back. So like, once again, I'm with y'all. My heart's with y'all. I know this shit is fucking tough. It's rough. You know what I mean? So hopefully, we all get through it and we literally see that light again. You know what I mean? And I know that there's been a lot of loss of life too. I don't have an updated death toll in front of me. I'm sorry. But I do know that number has gone up. And, obviously condolences to the lives lost and the families that are going through that, because that's the worst thing. They always say, of course, like, you can get the things back, you can get the material back, you can always get a new this or do that. But like, obviously, you don't get another life. And, to lose someone like that is hard. It's kind of thing that's like every time imagine a storm happens, you're going to think about that and have that kind of fear, have that kind of sadness. So, that's a lot to process, I'm sure. But yeah, let's move on. A little bit of good news, a spot of good news. I'm going to use the accent. Why not? From The Guardian, end of an era as Britain's last coal-fired power plant shuts down. I say fucking hell yeah. Britain's only remaining coal power plant at Ratcliffe-on-Soar in Nottinghamshire will generate electricity for the last time on Monday after powering the UK for 57 years. The power plant will come to the end of its life in line with the government's world-leading policy to phase out coal power, which was first signaled almost a decade ago. Excuse me. The closure marks the end of Britain's 142-year history of coal power use, which began when the world's first coal-fired power station, the Holborn Viaduct Power Station, began generating electricity in 1882. So, just really cool to see something like this happen. I loved seeing any kind of country, especially like a nation state like the goddamn, UK and Britain, whatever, you know what I mean? Them making a move like this seems pretty positive. I know it's not, gonna flip climate change on its ear or anything like that, but I think it's at least a step in the right direction. I'm sure if I thought harder about this, I could be more negative or be like, blah, 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 blah. But I don't love being a naysayer, believe it or not, okay? You know what I mean? I can be a real negative Nelly, but I don't always want to be. I want to be positive. I want to believe. I want to have utopian thoughts. So yeah, I mean, I think this is good. I hope that the transition is something that sticks. I hope that, the people, I know especially a big concern and a lot of coal heads are what about the jobs? Blah, 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 blah. It's like, I did read out of this situation, the union is like helping people find new jobs, adjacent to, keep, a livelihood and things of that nature. So that's good to hear. But overall, I just feel like it's good news, and I'd rather call it as such. You know what I mean? I know that it's a dark world out here, and probably only getting darker. And I know there's a lot of countries, hell, even the UK, that are gonna keep making fucking climate change mistakes and not make changes to stop and shorten, reduce this fucking pollution. You know what I mean? But I gotta count the wins where we can, right? I don't know. So we'll call that covered there. We have two more things I wanted to cover, but I'm gonna keep these probably pretty short. Just once again, keep the flowers out. Sadly, it's sad. You know, we gotta talk about a couple of losses. Gotta go a little bit of a obituary mode. Y'all know I hate this shit, but we gotta do it sometimes, especially when we're talking about the goats. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and take our last break, and we'll go ahead and close it out. All right. From ESPN, Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo dies of brain excuse me. Dies of brain cancer at 58. So, I did not see this coming. 58, that's pretty young. Just definitely kind of blindsided to hear this, but Dikembe Mutombo, the Hall of Fame finger-wagging center who spent most of his post-basketball career as an ambassador for the sport, has died of brain cancer at the age of 58. The NBA announced on Monday. Now, I really only recall Dikembe Mutombo from his time on the Houston Rockets. So I just remember seeing him, and he would do the finger wave, and he'd block the shots and shit. And then he had the iconic, I think it was Progressive. It might have been Geico. I'm pretty sure it was Geico. It was definitely Geico. There was no flow, so it was definitely Geico. And it was like him blocking shots and shit, and like but it'd be like him blocking shots in like the craziest places. So it's like him at like an office, like on some office space shit, and someone like goes to like throw like a wad of paper away, and his ass goes boom, he'd swat that shit and be like no no no. I was dying. I love that shit. So definitely touched my life in that little way, and I will always appreciate that. Plus, he was just an amazing ambassador for the game, for the Democratic Republic of Congo. He was just repping, dude. So just gonna definitely miss that man. You know what I mean? He was a whole presence. You know, dude, tall as hell, man. Shit. And correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Yao Ming and Dikembe Mutombo on the same fucking team, bro? Like, bro, you got Ints on your team. Like, that's crazy. You just got the fucking Lord of the Rings fucking Helm's Deep crew just rolling in. Like, what? That's intense. What an era. What a time. But then last but not least, pour out another one. And this is for the locals. This is for the yokels. Yahoo Sports. MLB hit king Pete Rose, dead at 83, dude. Charlie Hustled, bro, has left the building, dude. It's crazy, man. It's sad. I know some people are definitely shedding a tear right now in Cincinnati right now. You know, it's definitely a bummer. Pete Rose, Major League Baseball's hit king, who was later banned from baseball entirely, died on Monday afternoon. The Cincinnati Reds announced he was 83. The cause of death is not yet known, but his death was confirmed by Clark County, Nevada, by the Clark County, Nevada medical examiner. So, I mean, obviously we got to talk about it a little bit. It's definitely a shame that the Hall of Fame, you know, never let the man in, you know, because of the gambling thing, you know, whatever. It's part of the reason why I'm like, bro, I'm from Cincinnati. I've said this before. I'm from Cincinnati. I don't give a shit about gambling. I don't give a shit about any other shit either when it comes to like, oh, the juicing or whatever, bro. I give a fuck about showing up and playing a good ass fucking game. That's what I care about, okay? At the end of the day, fuck it, dude. I just want to see the game I just want to see the game be the game. You know what I mean? It's America's pastime. I want to see the motherfucking ball go out the fucking thing. I don't care if you look like Barry Bonds, Jose Canseco, or you're fucking hopefully not betting on your own team, of course. I mean, that's what Pete said. He ain't do that, you know? So I'm going to go with that narrative. You know, like, whatever. It is what it is. Obviously, R.I.P. the GOAT. I know I'm not the one to really be delivering flowers, but, hey, I'm from the city, so I'm the one to do it right now. This is who you get, okay? All right? But that's I think that's where we'll leave it. I know what a crazy, weird, wonky episode. And you know what? We went over what I like, but for what we've covered today, I'm all right with it. Gave you a bit of a deluxe today, if you will, and as a mea culpa, I'm sorry. That's like my first big day off in a while, and usually when I have that situation, I'm usually there like at the middle of the night, just giving you like that episode that I missed, and I'm gonna give you another episode. But hey, sometimes the daily guy just has to take a day. You know what I mean? It happens. So, hopefully you missed me. I missed you. Like I said, hopefully I'll be back at it. We're back on the wagon. But yeah, if you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/SuzanneNews. Fun fact, I don't say this often, you can follow for free. I do have at least one follower. That's the homie. They follow for free. You can do that. I like seeing the number go up, period. But, you becoming paid newsy. You can actually get the shout out. I give you that. It's actually coming up tomorrow. My newsies tomorrow. It's only a day away. So yeah, I can shout you out. Plug a project if you like. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials you're on. I'm there too. I'm just hanging out. I'm just probably doom scrolling just like you. Hit the YouTube, hit that subscription button. Boop, boop, boop. Hit that. Really helps me out there. It's a free way to help out the cause. Once again, trying to make that number go up, up, and up. And then leave a nice comment. Sharing is caring. Rinse and repeat on any of the other platforms you're listening on. Really could use that. We'd love to see it. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.